Good morning. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Many blessings and well wishes to each of you. All right. So, with everything going on, I actually have to do a follow up on the bombing incident that happened on Regent Street. So, based on news reports, the individual, the suspect in question, I believe he's Cuban, has made a very important statement. Now, in no way does this exempt this person from the crime that he committed, right? Which was an act of terrorism. But what the man said, I don't know if it resonates with anybody, but I will tell you, it seems like the people of Guyana partially triggered that attack on themselves. And it sucks. The same Spanish man claimed that when him and his family or friends came to Guyana, they went to the seawall for a night out. And during that night out, they were attacked and robbed in front of hundreds of witnesses. And no one tried to help them. Everyone watched, stood by while they were being attacked. The type of society that we live in will produce monsters if we keep allowing things to happen. When the public keeps watching people, innocent people, getting attacked, and they don't stand up, those innocent people will feel victimized by everything. And due to that, many innocent people will lash out. Now, if this suspect story is true, and in my opinion, based on what I've lived and had the experience to witness in this country, that statement that Spanish man made sounds right on point. It sounds absolutely precise in accordance to how Guyanese society behaves. Many people will stand by and watch a foreigner get robbed, not realizing that those foreigners might snap. They don't see the bandits as their babies. They see them as exactly what they are. An immediate physical threat. They don't see slow police work as justice. They see it as delaying justice. Right? And because of that, and this was this guy's reasoning behind it, or at least that's what the news report said, that he decided to do something about it. Now, what he did was completely wrong. I don't agree in any which way, shape, size of what he did. But I can honestly tell you, after the home invasion the other night, the anger that dwells within a person's heart after things like that happen, the sense of frustration, the sense of helplessness, especially when you're a man, right? You want to do something about it. And not all of the people have the patience or the thought process to figure out what is the right thing to do. See what Spanish man do? Spanish man went in the house. He mix a little of this and mix a little of that. And whatever he do and whatever he build, and he go and he walk and he put it by the gas station. I'm sorry for the young girl who lost her life. Because of that, he must be punished. I'm sorry about the destruction that he created. And for that, he shall and will be punished. But the question here is not if what he did was right, because it was completely wrong and it led to the loss of life, damage of property, and putting an entire nation at fear. It is an act of terrorism, right? And he must punish for that. But do we stop to think, truthfully, about what the catalyst of that situation truly was? The catalyst of it was an unsafe country. It was a place where people can't even go out in a public place and feel safe. Sometimes you in your house and the bandits, they're all over the place, mixing in every corner and everything, and who don't know who. Ladies and gentlemen, something serious must be done. Something serious must be done. And there are social trends that we can observe. And if we observe those social trends, we will be able to stop bad things from happening before it happens. Like, why arrest a criminal when you can do things to prevent that person from ever becoming a criminal? Keep the country safe. I want to point out a few things. And this is very, very important for all human beings to understand. If you see an adult or a older teenager sitting down at your corner or chilling and hanging out every day, and they are not gainfully employed or doing something to create value, you are in danger. That person may not even be watching you at that moment, but you are in danger. Because when these young men are sitting down and they have absolutely nothing better to do, they are sitting down, and let me give you an idea as to how it happens. Normally, there are going to be people smoking weed there. There are going to be people drinking there. There are going to be people probably using other types of drugs. There's probably going to be lewd and illicit conversations happening. And it becomes these little breeding grounds for these colonies of thieves and degenerates. And if our young people keep finding places like that to sit down and to kind of get away from mainstream and escape into this world of chaos that might seem comforting momentarily, because they might have a friend there and the friend invite them, and all of a sudden your kid who used to drink 1 beer a week is now an 18-year-old who's drinking 1 bottle of 5-year every night and wasting away their lives. Let me assure you, ladies and gentlemen, when you see areas and spots like that, that becomes an instant danger in your community. Over the years, I've been observing many, many communities here in this country. And, you know, my experience from where I grew up in the States, and it's all the same. It's all the same. And tell me if I'm lying. If you got a bunch of guys hanging out in the corner and they're not really working, they're doing something. They got to make money. So don't come for free. One is probably a drug dealer. The next is probably a killer. The next is probably a robber man. Right? Those little groups huddling and liming without any type of constructive endeavor needs to be stopped immediately. Immediately. Notice, ladies and gentlemen. Notice very carefully, ladies and gentlemen. Ask the police to provide the crime report for when the country was in lockdown because of COVID. I guarantee you robberies were down. Home invasions were down. Choke and rob was down. Pickpocket down. Con business down. Do you know why? Because everybody was locked down. And there wasn't nobody could allow people to gather in these little small groups. Because where do you think it happens? You have one person with an idea and an intention. And then that person reaches 10 people who are looking for something. And they don't got any idea what the hell they could do. And then when they get into that group, suddenly you got a problem. You got a problem. If you have groups like that in your communities and neighborhoods, you got a problem. Just saying, birds of a feather flock together. So if you always see a man hanging out with a bunch of thieving people, the man is either just trying to survive in a community or he's a fucking thief. Or he's okay with people stealing. Once it's not from him. Right? We all grow up in different areas. We all go through things. All of us know exactly what is happening. And yet we don't stop it. What is it? Do we feel empathetic toward people who may turn around and kill you or rob you? No. Do we like seeing people go to jail? I honestly don't like seeing people go to jail. But that does not mean that people do not deserve to be in jail if they continue to break the law or if they're terrorizing their neighborhoods and communities. What I'm proposing is to remove the spots where there are heavy saturation of criminal elements, ideologies, and practices from your communities. And you are in even more danger if you have people of a similar nature like that from different communities suddenly showing up in your community. You are in danger. Because people tend to go where they feel they're going to get paid or make money. People ain't going nowhere just like that. If there was nothing in the area or in those areas to make, people wouldn't go there. Bottom line. Bottom line. Right? So I'm calling on our government to start breaking up those groups. Start questioning people. The hell you doing? How old are you? What are you doing here on the corner? What work do you do? Sir, I ain't got the job. Me can't find one. Okay, so what you doing on this corner then? Because you're here like you're working a 9 to 5. What you doing? These are very important. That simple question. What are you doing here? That is a serious question. Very, very serious question. Right? And if we were to just be a bit more vigilant and start heavily targeting danger zones or areas that have that type of issue, I assure you, the minute you break up those little groups and those little gangs and stuff that are building up on all of those areas, the faster you make those communities safer. The faster you make those communities safer, they would be more economically viable for the people that live in those communities if the government can implement some of these steps. Too much going on in the country. And then maybe, just maybe, we can prevent further destruction of our country. You see, Guyanese, we get so accustomed to living like this that we consider it the norm. But ladies and gentlemen, this is not the norm. Do you know how many people I speak to from overseas, and I would love for them to come down to Guyana? But the bottom line is, nobody ain't coming down to Guyana to invest only to feel fear that their investments are going to be attacked and there's not going to be any true, solid, systemic approach toward keeping people safe. Good morning to everybody, by the way, in case I forgot. Good morning to each of you out there. Thank you. I am reading the comments while I do this live. Right? I'm still suffering a little bit. I think somebody said, I saw someone on the stream put in a comment, and like they're laughing. They're like, yo, let me see the boss head. Let me see the video. And it's so funny because it seems more like these people want to see me get injured. And they want an excuse to look at it and to rejoice over it. To that person, a group of violent people will visit you shortly, and then you can experience what I have experienced, and then you don't need to watch the movie. You will become an actor in it. Right? Because what you want for others, you should want for yourself. You see, I don't wish bad on people. Right? And I've said this before. I don't run around vindictively thinking, oh, I don't like Jim. I hope Jim falls. I hope Jim suffers because me and Jim might have a difference of opinion. Bullshit. Jim is allowed to have a different opinion. Jim is allowed to be Jim. And if Jim does something that I don't agree with or I don't consent to, well, consent is different, but something that I don't agree with, and it doesn't affect me, then why do I care what Jim does? Why will I want to see another human being being attacked? Is it so bored we bored? Your life so fucking boring? That is what you want to see? You want to see violence? May violence befriend you for your entire life. And your pick-me, and your pick-me's pick-me, and your pick-me's pick-me, 7 times 7 to the end on your skunt. Because that is the problem. That is why the Spanish man make a homemade bomb and start trying to bomb down the fucking country. Because of people like that. You hear an honest man get a home invasion. People get beat. People get robbed. First thing you want to do for your own pathetic fucking excitement. I want to see how the boss head happy. I want to see that is your definition of excitement. Guyana is bullshit. Bullshit. With people like that in society, How is society going to get better? Those are people that just want to see other people get hurt. Let me tell you something, Guyana. Once the mentality of the people of Guyana stay like that, yes, investors will come. But the type of people that will be able to stomach you to invest in a country where you reside will be predators. Because only the predator will be willing to accept dealing with such violent, vile, dirty-minded individuals for the sake of profit. So do not blame the government or blame the international community when some billionaire predators and real predator, systemic predatory, comes and affects you and keeps your fucking children in slavery and turns your daughters into whores and makes you work for next to nothing for most of your goddamn lives. Because that is the type of people that exist here. They want to see other people downfall as a form of entertainment. Your lives are fucking pathetic. I'll tell you that much. People who get excitement from seeing other innocent people getting damaged or extorted or robbed, you are vile pieces of shit. And it's because of that particular type of scenario. The Spanish man claims the man claiming basically he got frustrated and he snapped and he wanted justice. And he didn't know what else to do. So he started blowing shit up. He started blowing shit up. And the funny thing is, sometimes it's never the people who are strangers to you. It is the people who feel they know you. Who, because they refuse to uplift themselves, they find it easier to attack and bring down other people. Ladies and gentlemen, if that is the mentality of the people in this country is fucking doomed. And God shall send the punishment. And that punishment is going to come in a form that you will never understand, that you will never be able to avoid, and that will more than likely finish you across the fucking board. Okay? When God sent Abraham to Sodom and Gomorrah, Abraham told God, I need to go get my nephew, Lot. Please don't destroy the city. And by the way, Abraham was the only human being that was known to be a friend to God, by the way. It all started with Abraham's adventure and leaving his home to go into a strange land. How you treat people. Even Abraham dared to negotiate with God. He said, God, please don't destroy Sodom. There's so many people there. God said, it come all the way down to it. And God tell him, if you can find just 10 decent people, I will spare the city. And then God sends an angel, 2 angels, to visit the house of Lot. And when the angels went to visit the house of Lot, the men of Sodom even came out to Lot's house and said, send out the angels so we can have sex with them. Send out those gorgeous men. Lot, faithful and fearing, said, please take my daughters instead. But leave these people alone. And they refused. And they continued to torment people. And then Abraham came and got Lot. And as they were being led away from Sodom, Lot's wife liked the lawlessness bad. God said, don't look back. But Lot's wife said, I gonna miss them. And that's right where she fucking stopped. Right there. Right? Because the time is coming when a judgment is about to be passed on this country like never before seen. And you can't stop it. But what you could do is you can prevent it from becoming something horrible and work together and make it the beautiful scene that it is supposed to be. We finally, after so many years, have not everyone, but a larger majority of people in the country holding one head to develop this country correctly. But somebody, whether it's the wasteful or horrible moral upbringing or desperation speaking through their physical actions or their desensitivity to what should be wrong, maybe they have learned to love a wicked way of life. Maybe they have all become sodomites in their own right. To those of you who loves to see other people getting victimized, you are a sodomite. And judgment is coming. Separate yourself, good people. Those of you, I can't even say good because none is good except God. For even Jesus stated that. But separate yourself from these wicked things in this society because a horrible fucking judgment is coming. And it is one that shall be brought upon by your own hands. And some of you may say, but they would be unfair. I never do nothing wrong. I never do nothing. I never do nothing. Why must I punish with them? Damn straight, because you never fucking did anything when they were hurting everyone else. You never stood up. You never opened up your mouth. Instead, you sat there and you watched innocent people get hurt over and over and over again. And the only time that you complain about the fire is when it catches your house. Do you not understand that if you are in a community and the situation is dangerous, you will become a fucking victim? Because others will learn to be criminals in order to not get victimized. And when they're criminals, they need somebody to perform their acts of crime on. It's basic math. The criminals are not just going to attack other criminals. They're going to attack you. Directly or indirectly. You will still be a victim. But you are also a part of the problem. Because your response to the situation, just like Spanish man's response to the situation, is totally incorrect. It is totally incorrect. A nation of psychologically, mentally broken adults is what we have here. Spine, selfish, victim mentality. Somehow all of us feel entitled. But that is the problem. Look, I saw a critic on a clip showing video of a bunch of Spanish man lying off working. My boy said, everything there is fucking Spanish. Where are the Guyanese who are crying for work? This government has been doing its part. There is now more work available in this country than there is in the fucking United States of America. Right? There are people in America that can't find jobs because some jobs don't exist. There are people in Guyana that you can't even find them to fill the job, but they have made it a professional employment duty to go on social media and say, there's no work. Well, if there was no work, ladies and gentlemen, how the Spanish man them finding the work? How the Chinese finding the work? How the Haitians who come finding the work? How the Africans who come and finding the work? God damn it. Why is it only we Guyanese acting like we blind to what work look like? By the way, let me tell you, I remember back in 2004, when professionals in Guyana was getting paid less than $10 a day. Now professionals in Guyana, some of them seeing 75, some of them seeing 150, some of them seeing 200, depending on what job you're doing. And people still complaining. Mind I say, much of those people don't even pay fucking tax stunts, so they taking home all their money while west. Whereas if you're in America, Canada, England, government gone with your thing fast, stunt, you can't say nothing. You can't say nothing and you're still out there crying and complaining and blaming everybody for your fucking stupidity. And then you enjoy watching hard-working people, migrants and refugees, people who are already suffering or people who are trying to come for a better life, the same way some of our family went to different countries, and the first thing we want to do is watch them get fucking beat up in public places, do nothing about it, and make them feel as if their pain and their suffering has no value. That's why Spanish man trip. There was no need for Venezuela to send somebody that wanted to blow us up. All we had to do was give them a little bit of Guyanese hospitality, and then they fucking hated us. What do you think is going to keep happening? The intensity of these situations are going to get worse. If the people of Guyana do not learn to empathize, sympathize, and stand up for people when they are being victimized, no matter what race or culture, if it's happening in our country, we must abolish it. If we don't stand up to do that, we are going to create our own destruction. Nowhere in public would be safe for Coolie and Black Man pick me. Let me explain this carefully. It will not be fucking safe. Because when all of those real victims stand up and all of them decide, you know what, let me strap a bomb to myself and run in a bus. Let me run into a busy marketplace. Let me run into some schools. Y'all ain't thinking? Y'all stupidly bad. We are fortunate that that Spanish man didn't have enough sense to make a real impact. The wrong person would have went into one of them fucking primary school and blow its scunt. Then what? Then what? What happens then, ladies and gentlemen? If we know a man could go in the house with the pressure cooker and a couple of things and cause a big boom skunt and Hawkins pressure cooker selling, it's a serious thing. It's a serious thing. It is a serious, serious thing. And I can assure you that I'm not sympathetic. That I am not sympathetic for the Spanish man and the actions carried out by the Spanish man. But I can understand. I can understand the feeling. The feeling of being victimized in broad daylight and having people stand by and watch it happen to you. Because that's what the Spanish man claimed happened. He said he and his family went out to the seawall and they were getting robbed and beaten in front of a bunch of people and nobody did anything. And he got frustrated. And then he went home and he said, you know what? Nobody in this place care about anybody, and the man just trip out. No. Hold on. What nonsense I just hear coming out here, man. Right? But the man was wrong. The man's anger ended up misplaced. And, you know, I've had to deal with people with a lot of misplaced anger my entire life. My father is one of them. Being victimized over and over and over and over, it does something to you, you know. It breaks you in here. It breaks you. Now a man who was a victim has turned a villain. A young girl is dead. Property damage. A whole nation went into scare. And still the people of Guyana refuse to acknowledge where they are wrong. The next one might not be a small bomb. The next one might not be carelessly placed. And this is the sad truth. This is the sad truth. And, you know, so to prevent those types of issues from coming to pass, then, ladies and gentlemen, we need to be diligent. And we need to be fair and we need to be firm. We need to be disciplined. A certain degree of self-discipline. And also national care, national pride. We have no fucking national pride, man. I'm one of the few people I know that go out there and say, I'm proud to be Guyanese. My country's fuck up. The people are fuck up, you know. But at least there's a few of us who want better. I can't speak for everybody. Their actions speak for them. Or should I say, their inaction speaks louder than their actions. There's an interesting comment that just came here. Randy Cole, if that's what he claimed, how come the police force and government claimed that he only came in the country the night before? Well, once again, you know, I can't answer for the government. I don't know what strategy the government has been using to filter out factual and fictional information. You also have to know not everybody who's going to come up on social media and start telling you this and this, not everybody's correct. A lot of people are just using fucking speculation. But I do believe, and this is in defense of the government's investigation, I do believe, thank you, that the government on purposely put forward information in the public domain that may not have been correct, so that people who are calling with false leads will have false information. And once they hear a piece of false information, they know where not to look. Because the reality is, the resources that we have in manpower for public protection is low compared to the amount of crime that we have that it has to respond to here in this country. And for that reason, I don't blame the government for putting some false information out there, because there are people out there that take that same false information and try to put the spin on it. And every time somebody takes information to put their own spin on it, you compromise the situation and you delay justice further. Right? So, Randy, that should explain what you just stated there. Because at the end of the day, my brother, remember, something like that happened. I know I put out reward. I know government put out reward. Couple different people put out reward. Some people match my reward. And everybody's action, the goal was, let us find the person who blew up the gas station and killed the child and injured the family. And I can tell you, in that one moment, I felt the spirit of unity for Guyana. But do you know what made us unite? It wasn't love. It was fear. Fear makes you want to work together. Fear. Don't put that shit in the universe. Don't let my God understand that fear is what drives you to cooperate. Because in order to save this country and take it in the right spot, cooperation is absolutely essential. And just like others, I also endeavor to make my country a little bit better. Because I exist here. But I'm trying to use love to get you to work together. But Spanish man, bombs seem to make y'all cooperate faster than any of Mr. Snow's please and thank yous. It's crazy. It's not what you say, you know, it's what you respond to. Okay? You could say, hey, anything. Baby, I love you. Baby, I love you. Baby, I love you. But you're never there when it matters. Makes no sense. And this time now, a blind man and a dumb man who can't speak might be showing up. And his actions speak louder than any words. But it is sad that it took a situation like that to see what encourages Guyanese to actually cooperate and work together. Right? Now, the Spanish man is a villain. He is a terrorist. He's a terrorist because he's a human being, and based on his story, he got frustrated and he lashed out, and he didn't know how to lash out directly, and he wanted to be heard. That's it. You know how many people I know create destruction because they want to be heard? Shit, I grew up with one. Right? There's that human need to feel heard. And it lies within each of us, and we each speak it in different ways. Well, Spanish man doesn't speak in Spanish, so he don't speak any English, so he's speaking the boom boom language, and now suddenly everybody paying attention. No, it's not about what you say, it's what you respond to, man. Think about it. That response, serious thing. Right? That response is a serious thing, ladies and gentlemen. And if Spanish man's story is accurate, then in rightest sense, I could say as a human being, I understand. But at the same time, you took an innocent life. You damaged innocent people. And the same way, Mr. Spanish man, that you did not like it when you knew you were innocent and you were robbed and you were victimized. Two wrongs don't make a right. And what you did took life, and you must punish for that. You must punish for that. But ladies and gentlemen, what I say now, I don't say lightly. And I say it with a great degree of sadness in my heart. Because I wonder if that might ever be me in that situation. If people push me too far. And we're all capable. To anyone that does not feel capable, you have no idea what human capacity is truly capable of. But I would say, Spanish man admitted he has taken the blame. He is a foreigner in our country, but he has killed a child, damaged the property, did all sorts of wicked things out of his act of frustration. So to the Spanish people in the country, listen very carefully if you can understand what I'm saying. And to our government and to our people, I recommend the death penalty for that Spanish man. No jail. Death penalty. Instant execution. Right? Because There's no way to reform that Spanish man in our system. There's no way to respond or to reform that Spanish man. He's gone. His choices have ended his life and the life of others. He could never come out and walk the street and live a normal life. He could never let go of the hate. And oh, by the way, being in jail for it too, especially if you feel like you did something to stand up for yourself, that's just going to build way more resentment in that individual. Give the family of the child justice. Give the country justice. And give Spanish man peace. Put a bullet in his head. Might sound bad. But we don't have the resources in our prison system to financially accommodate someone for the rest of their lives who will never be given the real opportunity to reform. What is he reforming from? What is he reforming from? Being frustrated as a human being? Feeling like a victim with no voice? In fact, Spanish man, if you allow him to live longer, his personality trait is a very serious one. You run risk that one day he might break out and start killing people left, right, and center. Innocent, non-innocent. You also have the opportunity now that if this man ever gets out, or somebody more wicked finds an opportunity to use a man like that, who has nothing to lose, you'll be surprised at what damage can be done when a man feels he has nothing to lose. So, for prevention of future crime from that person, for justice, for the girl and the family, and for peace of mind for an entire country, Spanish man, may God judge you fairly. For in this system there is no fairness. Let us send him to God. And let God be his judge. And that which belongs to Caesar, let Caesar collect his dues immediately. A bullet costs 100 Guyana dollars. Court costing the city and the state millions. The man has admitted to the crime. He has given, in my opinion, a valid reason. Doesn't mean his crime is legit. Doesn't mean that, he's going to get off. Doesn't mean that he's going to have a chance to get away from it. The bottom line is, a Guyanese child died. Family was hurt. And I must stand up for my own Guyanese people. Once the man admitted, don't waste time with it. I'm looking forward to seeing the government move with decisive action in these matters. These things should not be food for media. These things should not be a conversation piece at a brunch. We need to eliminate it and move forward to the next problem. Guyana's got a lot of fucking problems. So we need solutions. We need them to be balanced. We need them to be fair. And we need them to be across the board with people who are willing to be consistent enough to ensure that those things get done correctly. If not, an entire country will continue to suffer. So protect people. Protect our visitors who are coming to spend money in our country. Seawall, I don't care what anybody says. Seawall is a busy spot. In the past, people know that there have been crimes committed there. The fact that the Seawall don't have like 100 officers stretched out along the wall with all them people hanging out partying is ridiculous and should be considered unsafe. There should be no public place in this country where citizens can just get robbed and people sit down and watch. Bullshit. Bullshit. Right? And since you know we have Spanish-speaking people in our country who are also part of this development, because they are Spanish and do a lot of work in Guyana, it would be recommended that we get some Spanish people into the police force. So that people can be represented fairly and equally when certain matters are there. I know some people may agree and others may disagree. But what I say here, I speak from seeing horrible things and how they come to exist. You, Guyana, you are nursing monsters upon your bosom. Right here, you're feeding mini monsters. You know what's the problem with that? From right here to right here, Scott, you're going to choke yourselves to death. Your own problems. So in my book, Spanish man became a monster. Because that's the society that he was introduced to. We told him through inaction that that is what we accept, provided that the story is clear and clean. I am not the one to determine that. Only the government could determine that. But the news report that showed when they got robbed is a fact. That news report that come way before the bombing ever come. Plenty Guyanese probably read it and say, oh God, watch what they do to the Spanish man by Spanish people by. Because somewhere down the line, Guyanese just calling them Spanish. And they're desensitizing the fact that these aren't Spanish people. These are human beings. They're human. And somewhere down the line, somewhere in our culture, somewhere in our way of life, we started attributing titles to people instead of just treating them like people. With that, ladies and gentlemen, You know, as a good son, I want to bring my father on air because I know he wants to say something. But he is also extremely emotionally charged at this moment. And I don't think that my father can react without being a bit too emotional, especially with what happened to me before. It's a sad story. It's a sad story. Persons don't even realize. For the last 2 days, I couldn't even work properly. I'm seeing blurry. Right? You want to see? For the person to want to see, my whole head swell up going back, right? This whole area swell up. Right? Right now, I'm a bit coherent because I'm on medication. But I can't function as I normally function. I can't even stand up too long without getting dizzy. So yeah, I understand. I understand. Right? But this villain that did this to me will not make me turn into a villain. Instead, I will create a history lesson. One for the books. I'm asking for justice. And I'm going to give the law their opportunity to get it. And then I'm going to pray about the rest. For I am putting my faith in my God. And I'm curbing my anger. To the people out there, I know who did it. Without a doubt. I know all parties involved. Without a doubt. Turn yourselves in. And I won't say more. Turn yourselves in. Before we have another situation on our hands. Right? Pay attention. Pay attention. My God, if you know how my God acts, I am praying. I am praying with your names in front of me. I am praying with an intensity that you have never seen. I am praying the way I work every day, consistently and unstoppably. I am praying. In total, ladies and gentlemen, approximately 10 people were involved. From planning to masterminding to everything. Turn yourselves in. I made a police force conduct their investigations and carry everything out thoroughly. Because as a young man, if I can't function, then what do I have left to live for? If I can't stand up for more than 5 minutes, then that means whatever I do has to be done within 5 minutes. So time is short. Confess and turn yourselves in. That is the best advice that I can give you. Your families should turn you in. If they have any idea what's coming, turn you in. For the police and the legal system will give you more leverage and more opportunity than my God will give you. Do not go out there and create more victims, because even victims can become villains. Ladies and gentlemen, have a blessed day. May we treat every human being with kindness and dignity and respect. And anyone that behaves like a monster, we must remove monsters from our society in the name of national safety and the future of Guyana. I thank each of you for watching today. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.